Change is the only constant, and to keep up with this rapidly changing world, there needs to be constant learning. Hello and welcome, I'm Sadhika Tiwari and you're watching Eco India. Traditional sources of livelihood, ways of life and knowledge are all falling short in the face of climate change, which is creating unprecedented scenarios. And knowledge in all stages of life is the only real hope. Since we are talking about knowledge, what better place to start than a school? I studied in Delhi and environmental sciences were a part of my curriculum. And although I learned quite a lot, all of it was limited to a classroom. But there is a school in Coimbatore which is changing all of this in very interesting ways.
What a nice change. Instead of learning in a classroom, these 5th grade girls at PSGR Krishnanamal Nursery and Primary School in Coimbatore are working in their school's garden today. Mushika already knows her way around.
We use plantain pith for making juice. It helps in curing kidney stones. Eating a banana leaf is good for your health.
The seedlings were donated by an NGO and handed over during a small ceremony. Environmental education is integrated into the curriculum here, starting in kindergarten.
This approach helps them understand the practical application of what they learn. In addition to raising their awareness about the environment,
The school, which is located in the far west of Tamil Nadu, is an international sustainability school. The concept was developed about 30 years ago by the Foundation for Environmental Education in Denmark. The Center for Environment Education in India has been a partner organization since 2014. The idea is to bring environmental education into schools and make it a fixed part of the curriculum. Schools here can apply for the International Green Flag Award, a distinction for sustainability in Indian schools. 10 schools in Tamil Nadu have participated so far.
They are generally working on 5 themes which are identified as part of the India Green Schools program. And these themes include working on water-related issues, biodiversity, waste management, healthy living, and climate change. And the idea is to look at their involvement in at least 3 of these issues per year.
More than 7,000 kilometers away, students in a home economics class at the August Sander School in Berlin are cooking brunch. The students are preparing for future vocational training. Some students have cognitive impairments and can only hear a little or not at all. The students use ingredients that are organic and regional whenever possible. Environmental consciousness is also part of their culinary training.
Ist gut?
You have to really break it down piece by piece sometimes, but I think we manage it pretty well. Plus, the students are quite capable, so surely something will stick.
The August Sander School is also an international sustainability school. There are more than 50 of them in Berlin alone. The schools have to reapply for the title every year. Petra Brandstetter, or one of her colleagues from Berlin's Senate administration, come by to assess whether or not the school can keep the title.
First of all, it's very important for schools to just get started and choose 2 areas to take action in, which are selected from a list of SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals, which is very current. And of course, it's very important that the schools actually take efforts to do those things as a whole.
The school doesn't seem to run out of ideas for projects. The students recently submitted a film about energy-saving tips to a competition. It also includes subtitles and sign language, making it more accessible.
Strom zu verbrauchen ist nicht gut.
Stimmt.
Young people are also taking initiative and selling organic dishes in the cafeteria that they prepared themselves in the school kitchen. As part of their lessons, the school kids also tend to extensive gardens. It allows young people to learn how to be responsible by looking after the property's animals themselves.
It lays an egg every day, an organic egg.
Berlin is also feeling the effects of climate change. Summers are getting hotter and drier here, and it rains less than it did in the past. The situation isn't much better in Coimbatore. The city is also located in Tamil Nadu, and thanks to environmental education, students there understand the causes.
This causes glaciers in regions like Antarctica to melt, which leads to flooding in other countries as the melted water flows into the oceans.
It's been getting warmer in recent years.
The land around me is getting more hot, and when I feel that, I do realize that the climate is changing.
In a few years, we may not even be able to live the way we're living right now.
Environmental education is the focus of the lessons here. The students become ambassadors who spread information about sustainability throughout the world. The concept is an essential part of all sustainability schools. But is that challenging for teachers?
I hope that instead of a challenge, it simply becomes accepted practice. Our aim is that even our students with special cognitive needs can experience regionality and seasonality, and that they can grasp these concepts with their minds, hearts, and hands.
It is easy for us. We start teaching children about plants, planting, and the environment in elementary school. It's included in the syllabus, which makes it easier for them to accept and understand.
Sea level increases. Greenhouse effect.
There are over 60,000 environmental schools in more than 80 countries worldwide. Hopefully, the millions of students from the coming generation will one day treat the earth better than the generations before them.
Green jobs are the future, especially in a country like India, which has a vast employment-seeking population. And in the next couple of decades, millions of such jobs will be created, and a majority of these will come from the solar energy sector, which is touted to generate nearly 3.26 million jobs by 2050. And while millions of jobs will be created, millions of employees will also lose their existing jobs and employment. This is where upskilling and reskilling will become very, very important. Let's find out a little more about how all of this will be done as this transition happens.
In Delhi, Jharna Khatun is opening up for the day. She's proud to have her own Material Recovery Facility, or MRF. Just a few years ago, she was working on the streets as a waste picker in all kinds of weather. So now, she is especially happy to have her own business.
The benefit of running an MRF is that it protects me from the rain and harsh conditions outdoors. Work goes on even in hot weather and during the rainy season.
But to start her MRF, she had much to learn. How to separate the waste, who would take it for recycling, and under what conditions. How to negotiate with business partners. Chintan taught her the ropes. The environmental NGO fights for sustainability and social justice by helping people escape precarious employment. Her new job has changed Jharna Khatun's life.
I feel the difference. Before, I had to ask my husband for money and had to be very cautious while spending every cent. Now the way I work, earn, save and spend has been transformed.
Jharna Khatun makes around 10,000 rupees per month, roughly 110 euros. She's just one of close to 50 former waste pickers now earning their living this way. This means she and her colleagues are part of the green economy, environmental protection, the sustainable use of resources, and renewable energies. All these areas promise new employment opportunities. And experts expect that India will need more workers to fill these jobs in the future.
We have estimated that currently the workforce engaged in the wind and the solar sector is around 1 million, and additional job capacity would be added of around 3.5 millions by 2030.
After Mahendran MV finished his engineering degree, he earned an extra qualification in the field of energy management. Today, he's working as a consultant at a big hospital in Delhi, whose power consumption is far too high. At the chiller plant, he arranges for various modifications, which should save the hospital lots of energy in the long run.
The main energy wastage happens in a chiller plant either due to inefficient equipment or due to inefficient operation. Here, there were 5 number of chillers that the client had. Now, some of them were working really inefficiently. Out of the 5, we changed 3 chillers and we had put 3 new chillers here.
In the area of building energy management, the need for skilled workers is already great. Data analysis and artificial intelligence should help make structures greener, but specific training is required. Aarti Rajput works for Delhi's Department of Forests. She earned her qualifications during a state-funded training program at NGO, the World Wildlife Fund. Today, she is mapping an area in Delhi's famous Lodi Gardens. Later, this should help to determine the best habitat for certain plant and animal species. But her new knowledge is useful in other areas too.
I've used the remote sensing tool, like in the dense patch of forest area where the roads were going, where the water resources are already allocated, and where are the planning things like where they can the water resources can get easy access to the fire incident if it happens. Many projects come due to development projects in Delhi. So I have to check that if it is coming into the forest area or not.
For Aarti Rajput, the extra training has paid off. G. Arindran was her training officer at the time. He tells us that such programs help more than 2/3 of the participants find a new job afterwards.
Most have gone into research, many into reputed organizations. Like TERI and WWF has joined in various projects. Then various research institutes have joined and forest departments. That is the major place where these guys go. And bird watchers joined protected areas as guides.
New sources of energy bring with them new challenges for the labor market. So workers who are prepared to keep learning new things don't need to worry about their jobs. There should be plenty for them to do in the future.
What does nature give us? Our food, the air that we breathe, and almost everything that we need to sustain our lives. But there is a more direct connection between our biodiversity and our health that can be traced back to the nearest medical store from your house. Most pills and syrups are derived from nature before they are put into test tubes in labs and finally into bottles and strips. Protecting our biodiversity is important for the health of our planet and our own health.
What if a small cut like this could kill you? It could have once upon a time. Now we have penicillin, an antibiotic that saved countless lives. Like many other drugs used to treat malaria, pain, and cancer, penicillin was made using substances that come from nature. But we're losing plants, animals, and other species way too quickly. It's not only destroying our chances to find more revolutionary drugs, it's also wrecking the ecosystems that keep us healthy in the first place. Biodiversity, the plants, animals, and other elements that make up nature, is behind many more drugs than you may think. Around 70% of cancer medications alone are based on natural substances.
We have medications for heart disease coming from like the foxglove. We have medications for cancer from the yew tree and from the mayapple.
That's Cassandra Quave. She's an ethnobotanist and wrote a book called The Plant Hunter.
We're looking for new molecules from nature inspired by those medicines that are, have been used in the past and continue to be used by people living under different paradigms of medical traditions around the world.
People all over the world have been using nature directly to heal themselves for thousands of years. There's latex from fig trees to treat intestinal parasites in the Amazon, and neem oil used to treat skin disorders in India. An estimated 4 billion people still rely primarily on natural medicines. But using natural remedies and nature-derived medications is becoming more and more difficult, and that's because we're quickly losing biodiversity. The International Union for Conservation of Nature has assessed more than 150,000 species as part of its Red List, which tracks the state of biodiversity. Over a quarter are threatened with extinction.
The two things that threaten biodiversity the most at the moment are overharvesting and land conversion.
That's E.J. Milner-Gulland, Professor of Biodiversity at Oxford University.
And that's not just clearance of land for livestock to graze, it's clearance of land for food, for livestock to eat, and clearance of the oceans, I should also say, for food.
We're chopping down forests, overfishing our oceans. We're heating the climate, introducing invasive species, and polluting the planet. In short, we're messing with the intricate balance between different species in ecosystems, where a rich biodiversity of different plants and animals depend on each other for their survival. We need nature's ecosystems to be healthy and working. Not only do they provide us the medicine we need when we're sick, they also keep us healthy in the first place. Just to give a few examples. Trees and shrubs clean our air by absorbing harmful substances. Outside air pollution kills 4 million people every year. A Boston University study found that up to 38,000 deaths could have been prevented in the largest US cities alone if there had been more greenery. Then there's soil. The microbes in it provide the nutrients to grow around 95% of our food, according to the UN. And there's wetlands that remove harmful pollutants from the water. Entire cities rely on this, like Kolkata in India. Around 750 million tonnes of sewage and wastewater are pumped into the wetlands on the eastern border of the city. And there the waste is purified and used for fish food and to grow vegetables. Our use of natural resources is, at least in part, the reason why over the past 200 years average life expectancy for humans all over the world has increased. But we're pushing nature too far. We're using more of its resources than the Earth can regenerate. So what can we do to save biodiversity and keep humans healthy? Clearly, there's no one solution, but there are different ways to protect, regenerate, and sustainably manage ecosystems. For example, rewilding or rebuilding ecosystems, reintroducing species that have been lost from particular regions. Agroforestry is another example. So instead of completely razing land for agriculture, using the native trees and shrubs to help grow crops. Things are moving in the right direction. Global governments have committed to protect 30% of land and oceans and restore degraded natural areas by 2030. But these promises need to be turned into action.
If there's anything that I've learned in this journey, it's really that human health and planetary health are intricately intertwined. You can't have one without the other.
If we look after nature, it has the capacity to help us even more. Because there are species like sea sponges, for example, that are already being studied and could provide more drugs to treat cancer. And scientists are also looking to plant species to treat the bacteria now resistant to the antibiotics like penicillin that we discovered almost a century ago. It's an absurd race against time, finding the cure before species go extinct.
Pakistan saw some of the worst and most disastrous impacts of climate change on its people and its economy this last year, with the worst being the floods. The world saw this loss and it strengthened the case to create a climate fund to help such countries. But the first step in combating climate change is educating and informing the citizens about it. And that starts right from elementary school.
Multan in southern Pakistan. It is one of the most populated and also one of the hottest cities in the country. Summer temperatures often top 45 degrees Celsius. The people here are at the front lines of climate change. To help them adapt to dramatically changing weather patterns, local public schools are taking action. The idea is to raise awareness among teachers about the impacts of climate change, so they can transfer the knowledge to a new generation. Thousands of public school teachers are being trained on the subject, something new in Pakistan. School teacher Bariha is a trainer. Here, she is explaining the science behind the recurring droughts, heat waves, and floods that are already making some regions uninhabitable.
Pakistan is among the world's top 10 countries most affected by climate change. Last year, the floods killed more than 1,700 people. More than 1 million livestock was killed and the economy suffered losses of trillions of rupees. As an underdeveloped country, Pakistan lacks resources so important to focus on preventive measures.
The curriculum is based on what's known as the Green Book. It's a colorful textbook published by the Education Department of South Punjab and has been distributed to more than 250 public schools. The book is taught to 7th graders. It puts into perspective the challenges posed by climate change and also offers localized solutions to tackle the crisis. But before they can discuss it in classrooms, teachers themselves need to be brought up to speed on the subject.
The training helps us understand how the climate is changing because of the greenhouse gases and the consequences we are facing.
One of Bariha's tasks is to involve students and teachers in the cultivation of small forests on school premises. They follow the Miyawaki method, a Japanese planting technique that can quickly establish an urban forest ecosystem. It uses local plants and imitates the processes through which forests naturally regenerate. A fully mature Miyawaki forest has the potential to bring temperatures down by up to 2 degrees Celsius, a noticeable and welcome difference, especially in summers.
Here in the corridor, the temperature is higher than outdoors in the Miyawaki forest. Creating numerous small green spaces like this could be very fruitful in tackling the effects of climate change.
A tasty and fun addition to the grind of daily school life is the kitchen garden activity. Hundreds of small oases like this one have taken root in the region as part of the curriculum. Bariha instructs teachers and students on the entire process, from planting to harvesting, an activity that excites the students. And the best part is cooking. Today, the class is learning how to make the staple fried dish of Pakistan, pakode. Something everyone enjoys even on a hot day.
Students learn to till the soil and they develop an attachment to it. They learn how to plant seeds, water the plants, and watch the process of flowers bloom and vegetables form. It makes the children very happy, and many take that knowledge home with them.
Organic refuse doesn't go to waste. Vegetable peels are mixed with soil and dried leaves to make organic and chemical-free compost. The compost is then used as a fertilizer for the Miyawaki forest and the kitchen gardens.
Our teachers have shown us how to keep the environment clean and use vegetables and fruits that are pesticide-free. We should plant more trees and reduce pollution so the environment around us is clean and we get more oxygen.
It's time to go back inside to the classroom. Bariha shows teachers ways to make lessons on climate change interesting and interactive. Students are encouraged to ask questions and debate different issues, and they are allowed to get creative as they work through the material. For a generation experiencing the effects of climate change firsthand, a fun-filled school day comes to an end. a day where hands-on learning can offer hope for the future.
Children, the future of this world, will also decide what this future looks like. So many stories of hope today. But you let me know, what did you find most inspiring in today's episode and what would you like to see more of? You can write to us or reach out to me directly on social media. I will see you next week. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Namaskar.